Yeah, and speaking of gravity, like I think your brother said, did your dad play a role in introducing you to Chris Martin or something?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. It's funny that because I just told my dad that I really like the support band, and so he just immediately took it on himself to go and grab them from their dressing room and say, "My son wants to speak to you," and I did. I know, I wasn't thinking of that at all. I was just saying how much I liked him. And then Chris goes, "Oh, your dad came to grab us," and I was like, "Oh, nice to meet you," and we just ended up clicking, um, like I said to you earlier on, I'm a bit of an introvert. I don't have many mates, so um, I've probably got one best friend, and then less than a handful of people I consider to be friends. And Chris is definitely one of them. He's a he's a lovely guy, and yeah, my dad, and we just sort of we swapped. It was back just after mobile phones had been invented, so everybody had like 10 different numbers. Like, right, this is my number, this is my girlfriend's number, this is my house number, this is my mum and dad's, this is my manager, this is my tour manager, this is So we'd give each other all our numbers so we could be reached. There's about 8 numbers each, um, and then yeah, we've just been in touch ever since, and that was about 20. It must be like 26 years ago now. So.
Yeah. But your brother was saying like it wasn't, foregone conclusion that you take that song you weren't sure about taking it at first or something.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So the Gravity story actually starts on Angelina Jolie's spaceship. So so um, we were in I think it's like Shepperton Studios or Pinewood Studios or one of those studios just outside London. Um, and Gwyneth was with Jude Law filming pickups for a film called Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow. Um, and me and Chris were in the parking lot on this massive model of Angelina Jolie's spaceship. Um, Angelina Jolie's also in that film, and she has a spaceship. Um, and we were sat there with an acoustic guitar playing each other's songs, and I played him Ashes, and he was really blown away by it. Um, and then he played me Gravity, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was amazing. That like one of the best things they've ever done. Um, up there with Scientist and Fix You has been like another big play ballad, and then a few months later, he rang me up out of the blue. Like I would usually ring him late at night because he lives in LA or lived in LA back then, and I could ring him at like 3 in the morning over here, and it would be a civilized time in LA. And so if I got an idea in the middle of the night, I wasn't waking anyone up. I could just ring him, and he'd sort of give me advice and or say what he thought or whatever. But he rang me and he was like, "Danny, I need to speak to you," and I was like, sounded serious. I was like, "I hope he's all right." And then Gwyneth was in the background going, "Go on, ask him, ask him, ask him." I was like, "Whoa, what are they? What's this? Like, what are you asking me? You know?" Um, and he said, "Well, Gravity." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, do you want to have it?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Well, I know you really like it as a song, and we just think it sounds too much like Embrace for us to use. So I thought, well, why don't you have it? Do you want it?" And I sort of, in my head, I thought, because we were just right at the end of doing Out or Nothing, and we knew what all the singles were, like Ashes, Someday, Glorious Day, and Look As You Are were going to be the singles. And I sort of thought, I don't want the biggest rock star on the planet to overshadow all our work, So I was like, initially I was a bit reluctant, but then I had a word with myself. Like I was like, he's the biggest rock star in the world, and he's offering you an amazing song. What are you doing? Say yes, you prick. So I said, I think I ended the conversation saying, "Well, we'll give it a go and we'll see if it works out. And if it works, then that would be, and also thank you. What a lovely thing to do. Um, And so then I went to the rest of the band, and they all had exactly the same thought process. What? No fucking way. We don't want some rock star overshadowing our album. We've worked for ages on this. We know what the single, but exactly the same thought process. There's that thing in there where they film from above, 1,000 prisoners going into a cell, and then everybody takes, and then they overlap it, and everybody takes exactly the same journey. Like every human being goes in, looks out the window, sits on the bed, comes back, checks the door's really locked, and then goes and sits back down again. They've showed like 1,000 people, and they all do exactly that. And I think human beings are so, like, the way that our brains work is so similar in a lot of ways. So everybody in the band all went through that same thought process that I had, where it's like, no, fuck off, and then hang on a minute, he's the biggest. Yeah, we should definitely give it a go. So they all had that thought process, and I got to watch them have it. And then we gave it a go, and obviously like it worked out really well. But the irony there is we were talking about youth made everything too fast. Well, I was constantly ringing Chris in the middle of the night saying, "Keep him. This sounds too fast, don't you think?" And I'd play at him, and he'd go, "No, man, that sounds really definitive. It's amazing. It gives it a confidence that he didn't have on acoustic guitar. Like, what are you doing? He's making you a definitive album. I was like, Ashes, it should be 138, not 140. He wants to do 142, like BPM. I'm like, what? Well, do it 142 then. Like, what are you playing at? Go. He's your producer. Trust him, blah, blah. So then Chris, when I played him Gravity, he's like, "Is this the finished version?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Is it a bit fast?" It's like, what the fuck? So I'm not sure if he I said to him, like, "Do you like it?" And he's like, "Oh, no, 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 I love it, I love it, I love it. It's great." It's like, has it got enough bass? So he was like in Chris from Coldplay mode, because it was his song, it's like his baby, and he wants to make sure all the sort of anal OCD tweaks that I do, he wanted to get it right in his Coldplay mind as well. And Coldplay songs are generally a lot warmer and actually a little bit slower than Embrace stuff. So for it to sort of work in his bones, it needed to be both of those things. But Gwyneth was there, and she was like, "No, no, no, Chris, this is amazing. This is exactly what this song needs. I can imagine this all over the radio. It's like, great, Danny, well done." So she was really supportive, and she was right. It was all over the radio, like it was. It really helped, sort of kickstart the sort of second wave of our career, really.
Yeah, you ever played it live together or anything?
No, we haven't, but I went to see them at Hull last year, and he did it live on stage for me. I was in the
Oh,
audience.
really?
Yeah. If you look at, you'll find like this on our Facebook. I did a video of it. But yeah, he dedicated it to us and did this big long dedication, and then he did Gravity. And I actually sang along with him, but like we sing different words because I think he makes the words up as he's going along. Because in his mind, it's never really been a finished song. But either that or I changed the words when we did our version. But they're different words, so I think if we did do a duet, we'd have to decide which version we were doing because they are different. But yeah, I've sung with Chris a lot, like privately. Like whenever I'll quite often I'll sing one of our songs, a new one, and he will like sing along and just like do like melodies over the top, um, and that's a really like amazing thing. He's just so good technically that he can just immediately pick up your melody and sing a harmony, which makes his harmony makes my voice sound so much better to me anyway. And so I remember we were working on for our the album that's called Embrace, but we call it the Tallies album. And I was playing him an early version of a song that ended up not on the album called DNA. And he loved that, and he thought that should be, a single, and it was a big song. And he did a different version of it in a more major key. and we sort of did we sang that together, and that sounded amazing. And I wish I'd recorded that. Um, but yeah, you know, people say Coldplay are boring, and it's just like, oh, Chris Martin is boring, and it's like I've met fucking so many people in my 30 years as a rock star. He's one of the most interesting people I've ever met in my life. He's so charismatic and so like it's just like sparks flying off him, you know. You can sit down and just like watch Chris and he will just entertain you. Like, you know, you can just switch off and he will just entertain you, you know what I mean? He's such easy company. He's like a little magic box, you know. And I love being around him. You know, I, I constantly feel I feel so relaxed being around him because I don't feel the need to, you know, perform or be anything myself because he's so like he's got that covered, you know. So.
No, I always loved his cameo in Extras as well back in the day.
Oh, that's great, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
good that sort of taking the piss out of himself.